The Excel file and the PowerPoint slides used for this lecture are available on my homepage under the CSE 2111 link, and they're also available on Carmen and Canvas, which is the learning management system used by OSU. Please follow along with the PowerPoint slides as I talk about each subject.
The Sumif function sums the number of items in a range that meet a specific criteria. Syntax: equals Sumif criteria range, comma criteria, comma sum range. The sum range argument is in brackets, meaning it is optional. If the sum range argument is not used, the sum range will be the same as the criteria range. The criteria range argument is a continuous range. The criteria determines what cells to sum based on if the criteria has been met in the criteria range. If the criteria is met in the criteria range, the computer will sum the corresponding entry in the sum range. The criteria syntax is the same as the COUNTIF.
In this worksheet, in column A, we have a list of names, and in column B, we have a list of numbers. We're going to write a function that will add all the numbers that are associated with rice. So my range criteria is A1 to A6. The criteria is rice. I don't have it denoted anywhere, so I have to hard code it. And the sum range is B1 to B6. And we get 900 because we have two entries with rice. One is 300, one is 600, and the total is 900.
In this case, I have a list of properties, and each property has a type of unit, either townhouses, one-bedrooms, or flats. Each unit has a type of pool, and column D tells me how many units I have in use at each property. Column E shows me the monthly rent, and column F shows me the monthly revenue, which is just the number of units in use times or multiplied by the monthly rent per unit. Now I want to write a formula in cell B13, which gives me the total revenue of all townhouses. So I'm going to use the SUMIF function. My range, my criteria range, I'm looking for townhouses. My criteria is the word townhouse for this cell. I have this denoted in cell B12, so I can use that. And because I have it in cell B12, when I need to copy it over, it will change the criteria to flat and then the criteria to one bedroom. My sum range is the monthly revenue. So if cell B3 has the word townhouse, it will sum the contents of F3. If B4 has the contents townhouse, it will sum the contents of F4, and so forth. In this case, cell B3 and cell B6 both have the word townhouse, so it will sum both of those numbers together. Notice with the syntax, the criteria range and the sum range must have the same number of cells. Now in this case, I'm going to copy this over so I can get the monthly revenue for a flat. So the criteria is going to stay the same. When I copy it over, the criteria range is going to stay the same. When I copy it over, though, I want the criteria to change, but the sum range is going to stay the same. And I copy this over, and there are the answers. The next example is in cell D9. In this cell, I want to calculate the number of townhouses and bedroom units in use. So I'm going to total all of those in this cell. So let's look at the townhouses first. Here's my criteria range, comma. Now I could use cell B12 If it's clearly denoted, and you could decide if it was, I am just going to use the word townhouse. And then the number of units in use would be right here. Notice I don't have to use any dollar signs because I'm not copying this formula anywhere. This number gives me the number of townhouses, but I also want the number of one-bedroom units. So I'm going to have to do another sum if. My criteria range is B3 to B7, comma. My criteria is one bedroom, comma. And my sum range is D3 to D7. And there's my answer.
The Averageif function averages the number of items in a range that meet a specific criteria. The syntax is the same as the Sumif function.